that Kalonzo Musyoka has formally joined the Azimio movement in terms of endorsing Raila Odinga as the joint candidate for that coalition. We want to make sense of that and probably understand what could be inside the deal that made one Kalonzo Musyoka, who actually said he would be the biggest fool in the world if he was to join or endorse Raila Odinga for a third term, or rather third time. We'll be able to understand that, and of course, who else better to help us understand? Of course, there's a quick change that we just had to make very, very quick in just a short while ago. We were expecting to also have Farah Malim, the deputy party leader for the Wiper movement. Of course, he says that there is a quick debrief meeting that they are on, and of course, it might take longer than expected to join us on the show tonight. But of course, he has made a statement. He says, today, the country united. That was his statement. The phone call we had with him just a while ago, giving us his quick takeaway from what happened today. And he said the country has united. And of course, the decision made today was made from different standing points. One of those standing points, difficult ones to make, but of course, very vital, he believes. He says that they want this thing to be won on the biggest margin ever, because we do not want, in his own words, what happened in 2007, 2008, because of the small margin as far as the winner and the second placed person as far as the presidential vote is concerned. And so he says that the Azimio OKA movement, or the union or the coalition that has been announced today, is going to win this in a landslide, and so many seats are going to be swept, of course, from the presidency and moving to the other seats. We want to understand what might have changed, what might have made Kalonzo Musyoka to be able to say, I'll be part of this particular movement, and put aside his presidential ambition. And because the show must go on, we are here in studio with none other than Professor Herman Manyora himself. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Quite short notice, but of course, Asante Sana, these are your things.
This is my place.
This is your place.
Yes. I don't need a notice.
You don't need a notice?
No, don't serve me a notice.
I love that. And of course, because of the political developments that are happening in the country, it's very important for us to make sense of what has happened today. But before we go really too far, some people might say we have put words in the mouths of Kalonzo Musyoka. I'd like us to just take a few minutes and listen for ourselves what he said before what has happened today. Of course, these are some of the statements that Kalonzo Musyoka had made earlier on. He had made a very tough stance, and today he had to turn around it. Let's have a look at it in case you've never heard him say it.
I said our brother Raila is willing to join us. I mean, he's free to join us. That I can tell you for a fact. And in fact, I would love that to be the situation, that he joins us. Okay? However, I cannot see, and I made it clear, I would be the most stupid fellow on the earth to go and support the third time a presidential candidate. All right? Without a measure of reciprocity. I think it...
Right, Prof. What could have happened? I mean, what could have happened in between that statement and today's Raila Tosha declaration by Kalonzo Musyoka?
Politics. Yeah. What are you expecting? Just politics. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you
all
explain
these
it?
fellows have said things, one thing or the other, and have changed their mind. It's Winston Churchill who said, eating once never gave him constipation. I mean, eating his own, that's politics.
Yeah.
In politics, you say this today, you say the other one tomorrow. This nothing. I'm not seeing why people are saying the way they are saying, things they are saying.
But then, if it is politics, and of course we have seen that it becomes political fodder for those who are contending on the other side, as far as hitting you with your own words is concerned, yes. I see people from the Deputy President's side already saying that they're going to be releasing a dossier of the 2 days negotiations of Kalonzo Musyoka at State House to be able to arrive at this particular deal. How does that make or break a politician if you cannot be able to stand by what you said yesterday and you need to make a decision on the same matter?
I've told you, this is politics. A politician cannot be held to account by what he says today. Look, I've told you, the things Uhuru Kenyatta said about Raila Odinga, I mean, not too long ago. You and I heard them. The things Raila said about this fellow. But now they are eating together. That is politics. So if Kalonzo said he was not going to support Raila, and now he's supporting, we're not finding any strange. It's normal in politics. Across the world. You know, you remember, I think 1980. 1980, oh yeah, I think 1980. In the heated nominations for the Republican Party, Bush really dismissed Reagan, and he called his economic blueprint Bordeaux economics. People remember that word. But he then became his running mate when Reagan clinched the party ticket. It's normal in politics.
It's normal in politics, you say. You spend time, and probably most of your life you spend time training or talking about political science. And we want to read into your mind and probably now take us to the negotiating table as far as political deals cutting is concerned. You know, from where you sit, what do you think could have happened? What do you think could be in this deal that would make Kalonzo say, I'd rather be on Raila's side than on the Kenya Kwanza side, or even go it alone and maybe push for runoff?
I think reality. Reality. First of all, Kalonzo insisting that he be supported is a long shot. Actually, a shot in the dark. He knows it. All along, he must have known he stood no chance. Not with Raila around, and with a strong inclination from Uhuru Kenyatta. Kalonzo is intelligent enough. He's mature enough to know. He stood no chance. But I think two things must have then happened, led to his action today. One is that you look for an exit. How do you shift from your position? Because you have also followers to think about.
Correct.
There are people who support you. So you can't just walk the way Mudavadi walked. That what really offends you. So he took time to prepare his people. Secondly, you also don't just want to go and get nothing out of it. But because he had stayed long, that which could have been his for the taking, like running mate, of course it's complicated. You know, the matrix is so complicated because of Mount Kenya. Maybe he would have gotten a bigger thing if he had joined Raila earlier. But because he comes in late, and they would still want to demand for that which maybe stood a chance if it was maybe 4-6 months ago. So this is what, when they talk about the State House negotiations, right up to today morning and going into late morning before they go into KICC, it's because perhaps what he's asking for he can't get this late into the day. I mean, it will be very difficult for Uhuru and Raila to make him running mate.
So you want to say it's not automatic that this is going to be a Kalonzo?
They will take a gamble. For Raila and Uhuru, it will be a big gamble. It will be a big gamble, which in my view may not be worth it.
That ticket would not see the light of the day?
No, they could still win, but it's a gamble. If you antagonize Mount Kenya, because Uhuru is trying to, endear himself to Mount Kenya. So if you bring Kalonzo, it's akin to bringing Mudavadi to be running mate Ruto. It's so difficult for Ruto, so difficult for Raila and Uhuru. They cannot give it to Kalonzo. I think the negotiation must be around BBI. That they are optimistic that the Supreme Court will give them a lifeline. And they will speed this thing. So the immediate Raila is sworn in, they take 2, 3, 4 months and they have the new constitution and they make him prime minister. Something of that sort.
Right. And so maybe if we're to look at it from that perspective then, the taking of time to be able to make this particular decision and even calling for pressers that would be able to show the other person in a different light. You remember when he mentioned that he brought to the limelight the deal that they had secretly, saying that two options, either live by this or prove to everybody else that you're not a person who keeps your word. Why would a politician go through all that only to come and say, I'll still work with you?
At that time, Kalonzo was no longer pushing to be supported to be the president. He was just upping his stake for the running mate position. Because he saw it had already gone. And therefore he had to do something dramatic so that the people feel, okay, if all it will take is to make him running mate, okay, let's give him. But I think they have found it difficult. I'm not saying they are not going to give him. I don't know. I'm not an insider. But I know it will be suicidal on their part.
Yeah. Prof, you've always said we're in deep state, but so how don't you know these things?
I wouldn't know.
I mean, looking from where you sit,
yes.
I mean, what then do you see? Because the mathematics, just the same way with William Ruto and his previous gang before Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula joined, there were key people who you would always see very close to Deputy President William Ruto, and you know, there were these people who everybody would say, this is probably the running mate for William Ruto, this probably is the next this and that. We could see that. But when Mudavadi went in there, the metrics changed. Even look at the body movement in the US-UK trip. You could almost certainly say this is President and Deputy President in terms of that particular ticket. How does the mathematics work now? Because you have now Peter Kenneth, who people are saying or already claiming that could be the running mate. There are a lot of other people, Lee Kinyanjui. There is, you know, you could be able to
go on and on.
Yes, you could go on and on. Yes. Now you have over, you know, 26 political parties, and you have one position to choose to appease the other. I mean, what kind of mathematics, or how do you think?
You see, to understand this thing, you must again know this game did not begin yesterday. This game has been on for a while. This is a long-range game. This is not a sprint, like Uhuru said. Uhuru and Raila have been on this thing for a while. And they must have settled on a name for running mate. Of course, there are always contingencies, but by now they have a name. And that is not going to change just because, say, Kalonzo has come. No, it won't change because of that. Because, like I'm saying, it will be very difficult to change that game. So there are names. Peter Kennedy is fronted by, of course, everybody knows, by the Billionaire Club, the Mount Kenya Foundation, and the rest of those rich boys. Then there are those who are saying Peter Munya will be a better bet, because then you have 1 million votes without talking. Then there are also people who feel other people can be better. But I think if you ask me, it is between Peter Munya, Peter Kenneth, and a long shot Lee Kinyanjui. But for Kalonzo, I doubt. They could. Maybe they were pushed into saying yes. But it will be disastrous for them.
It will be disastrous. I mean, how do you explain that bit of disastrous? Why?
You see, Uhuru is trying to approach Mount Kenya. And if you deny them that, then you give them the excuse they need to rally behind William Ruto. And if Mount Kenya were to rally behind William Ruto to a man, then Raila should forget about the presidency. Completely. And therefore, you don't want to do anything to antagonize them. You want them to be people you can talk to, if you are Uhuru Kenyatta. You want Raila Odinga to go to Muranga, to go to Nyeri and talk to people. You are not actually looking for votes. They are not looking for votes from Mount Kenya. They are looking to destabilize the votes for William Ruto. So by Raila getting like 30%, 35% of the vote, and certainly with a low turnout, I mean lower than they got last time, there's no way Ruto can win this thing.
If it goes that way.
Now, but if you make them, how?
Let's say now William Ruto also picks, let's say...
Musalia Mudavadi.
Not just Musalia Mudavadi, probably also puts someone from the mountain as the running mate.
I think they both will. They both will. It's just a question of, is it Mount Kenya East, is it Mount Kenya West? And if Mount Kenya West, is it Kavogo? Is it
Rigathi Gachagua?
No, for Raila. Is it Kafogo, or is it Peter Kenneth, or is it just Macharia? Is it Mwangi? They can be surprised. Actually, I do expect a surprise name. No, this Peter Kenneth and the rest. There could be a surprise name, a very dangerous card. Someone like James Mwangi, somebody like Macharia, the transport CS. Those are surprise names for very strategic reason. Because you might want somebody who will not come, who will not demand the presidents after Raila.
But then the metrics is that probably to be able to woo either of those blocks, to be able to say, you've had William Ruto also say, I only need 5 years. Give me just 5 years, and then now we can discuss the other the other 5 years. Raila Odinga has also said, I mean, just one term. and I'll be able to say, mimi ninapatia the next person.
Yes.
If this is the carrot being dangled on those with the largest voting blocks, then how then do you explain what you just said, that you don't want someone who would want to say they want the presidency, as part of your mathematics? You
know, if you give a Kikuyu,
yeah,
you know he will not want to be president in your game plan. But the community knows they are going to be president after Raila. Yeah. That's what matters to you, to get the votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how a surprise name can come in. Of a person who say, we were ushering in this change, me, I've done enough with Raila, I'm going back to business. You please look for another person. That is if they have a succession plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, for Ruto, it's also complicated. If you give Mudavadi, you are cooked. Cooked.
Why do you say that?
You are roasted.
Why?
You are roasted. The Mount Kenya people, now Uhuru will have a field day there. He will just walk and get all the votes. And yet Mudavadi may not bring you all the votes, even if he was running mate. Lawyers have had more than almost three vice presidents. It doesn't excite them so much. Moreover, Raila has his support base within Western, which can change. Even if Mudavadi was running, supported by Ruto, Raila will still get more than 40% of the votes. You know the arrangement of Mulembe Nation. Yeah, but then there's been argument that we're now hearing of statements like, if Mudavadi is not being given the running mate position, then consider us out of this particular Kenya Kwanza. Would you also still say this is politics, or this is a red flag for William Ruto? I smell something. I don't think it's politics. I'm smelling something. If they persist the way they are doing Malalas, they could be pursuing somebody's agenda, and they will hurt Ruto. It will be an exit route, an exit strategy. So I'm not understanding how they are coming up, because the question of who becomes running mate should be a question discussed between Mudavadi and Ruto. But when you have small fellows coming out so strongly, giving such a tough conditions, they could be doing somebody's bidding, and this would hurt Mudavadi and Ruto very much. Yeah, but you earlier on posted about 4 hours ago, 5 hours, maybe by now it's 5, you said that Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula could soon join Raila Odinga and be able to work with him. How? There are two reasons. One, I think by now, any sensible Kenyan would surely see that the path to presidency for Ruto doesn't exist. Why would you write him off that way? I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Yeah. You can't have such a monster of a coalition, an election machine of the type we've seen today, and still hope to run against it. So Mudavadi, like everybody else, should be realizing by now that this game is going nowhere for them. Secondly, and I think much more importantly, when I say Mudavadi could very soon join Raila, I'm looking at Uhuru Kenyatta. His persuasive power that he can bring to bear on this thing. I think Uhuru's strategy must have been to go for Kalonzo first. Once you have bagged Kalonzo, now focus on Mudavadi. I don't think Mudavadi can defeat Uhuru Kenyatta. When it comes to persuasion? Yes. But he's been very strong. Son of Jomo Kenyatta, son of Mamangina Kenyatta. If he focuses, if they think there is premium in getting Mudavadi, he will get him. I have no doubt in my mind. Yeah. But I could be wrong. I just know that Uhuru is a master chess player. So, when you are young and you are trying to chase girls, sometimes they will play you because they will always be together. So you must ensure you separate them, then you get one when she's alone. Then perhaps you can stand a chance. Yeah. Or even the quails. Quails, when they are working together, they can't get into the trap. That's, I don't know what we call it in English. Yeah. So you must ensure one goes the other way. That one which kind of, the one, I don't know what they call it. Calls the others. Yes. Yeah, so one goes, yeah. So when they are together, you can't get them. Yeah. I think it is very easy for Uhuru to get Mudavadi after now he has gotten Kalonzo. I think getting Kalonzo was much more difficult than getting Mudavadi. But whether or not Uhuru will focus on Mudavadi and get him, to me will be a question of assessing what value he brings.
Yeah.
If they see he has no value, then they will not waste their time. But should they feel he has value? You know, value does not necessarily mean votes. Value could be psychological. To puncture, you can imagine this late into the day, if Mudavadi and Wetangula left Ruto. It does not matter how many votes they were taking.
Yeah.
Maybe they were even taking nothing. But from a campaign point of view, that is danger. That's really, really hurting. Yeah.
But then when you look at perception, there is still the perception which actually still plays a bigger role in politics.
Yes.
To be able to try and see that these people are ganging up just against this one person.
Yes.
Couldn't that work for William Ruto?
Yeah, that's how. Those are some of the things the Raila Uhuru team must deal with. The perception that all these men, but you see, that perception has been there, but it was a little punctured. It's slow punch, of course, not a burst. When Mudavadi now join and Wetangula. So it's no longer a question of all these men ganging up against one man. Because he's also pull men to his corner. So they are men against men. But initially it was all those men against one man.
Yeah.
So now I don't think it is as valid as it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And so tonight, in the camp of Kenya Kwanza, with the development of Kalonzo Musyoka joining Raila Odinga one more time,
Yes.
what do you think could be running in their minds? Because politicians will still come back and hit you because you didn't join them, but then also if you had joined them, they could be saying different things from what they're saying today.
I think Ruto, being the man he is, and always staying ahead, he's already coming up with the narratives. Hata wakikutana wote, hao mabwenyenye, you know, those dynasties, all those what, we will still, we have the people. Those kind of narratives. Now, Ruto's life is hanging on narratives, more than ever before. Of course, he was propped up by narratives.
Yeah.
The hustler narrative, the bottom man narrative is what put him where he is.
Yeah.
A place nobody would have imagined.
Yeah.
Could you even have imagined at any one time that Raila will be competing for space with Ruto? Neck to neck, kind of. Nobody would have imagined. So those narratives put Ruto where he shouldn't have been, actually. And now he's going to create more narratives to counter this. So his very existence hangs on narratives. And that's why the other side, I keep asking them to be careful about narratives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to read your thoughts also on the aspect of value going by the opinion polls that have been coming out. Of course, I had a sit down with the co-chair for UDA, Honorable Mudhama, and I was asking what if Kalonzo was to join them, and he said he brings no value. A person who gets less than 2% in the opinion polls cannot bring any value. In fact, Mudhama says that if they were to be put head-to-head with Kalonzo, he would beat Kalonzo. I want to read your thoughts on what value then do you see, going by what Mudhama says, Kalonzo brings on the table?
How can you compare Mudhama to Kalonzo? Mudhama is my friend, but there is no comparison between the two. Like somebody was asking me regarding Uhuru Kenyatta in Central. How would you compare Uhuru to Rigathi Gachagua? Where is the comparison? Mudhama is way... You can't talk of Mudhama when you're talking of Kalonzo. And I've maintained this. I'm not saying because he has come today and some people perceive me to be Azimio. They are wrong, of course. But I'm saying just because the truth. I even said on TV, live TV with Alfred Mutua. If he's watching, he can confirm. Alfred Mutua, governor. I told him, see, the truth is, you are nowhere near Kalonzo. Kalonzo is still the kingpin. That's a fact. That is a simple fact. These three governors put together are no match for Kalonzo Musyoka. These things die hard. Look at Mudavadi, where you come from. Mudavadi may be as erratic as he is.
Yeah.
But in the mind of the Luya, is there another person more than Mudavadi? In the mind of the Luya, with even all these errors and mistakes he's making and all blunders, nobody can say that he's in the mind of the Luya when it comes to leadership more than Mudavadi. So I don't think Mudhama has anything to to compare himself with and you see, when they say he's getting 2%, that's a national poll.
Yeah.
It will be an entirely different matter if Kambas were asked. And they were told, can you please queue? Let us start from Lolongo, queuing.
Yeah.
And Mudama's queue is headed to Mombasa. And from Lolongo here. And Kalonzo is headed to Kisumu.
Yeah.
Kalonzo's queue will get to Kisumu before Mudama's queue gets to the river. And he won't go beyond the river.
Yeah.
Which Kamba will choose Mudama over Kalonzo? Which Kamba?
It's not practical.
No, it's not possible. It's simply not possible. Some of these things are not possible. Of course, there come sometimes situations are very complicated.
Yeah.
Such as the one we have in Mount Kenya, where the undisputed king is Uhuru Kenyatta. But the political game has been played in such a way, so much blame has been heaped on him. And the economic challenges facing this country, facing traders, especially small traders and the Kikuyus in the majority.
Yeah.
And all the problems facing Kenyans are all on the doorsteps of Uhuru Kenyatta. And the Ruto has played the game so well that you find the person who should be undisputed king is under siege. That's a unique situation. I'm not seeing that situation in Ukambani.
Yeah.
So that if Kalonzo had not joined Raila, it would depend on the move he will make. He could make a certain move and that will result in him going with the Kamba votes, majority of it. So that Ngilu and the other governors will just take, say, 30% to Raila. You get it?
Yeah.
But again, he could make a move which Kambas will see as amounting to nothing. For example, let me give you an example of Mudavadi today.
Yeah.
If there's a difference between Mudavadi and Ruto, and then Mudavadi says there's still time, let me run. Lawyers won't take him serious because they know he's going nowhere. But supposing they remain
Are you sure they would not give him any attention?
They'll
Say,
give him
go
zero.
for it alone?
No, nothing. He would get nothing. You know, some people say when he stood, he got 400,000. He may get that or more. And Kalonzo got about 900, and that he will get that or more. No. Let me tell you how it plays. When Kalonzo stood in 2007, his people were meant to believe he can be the president. Why? They talk of the connection between the Kamba and the Kalenjin because of this AIC bond, the religion. They talked of Kalonzo's connection with Meru, where he went to school. They keep saying we are Meru, we are Kamba and Meru are the same. They kept talking about the Kambas at the coast and their influence. So they were looking at all those factors and saying it is possible Kalonzo can win. But if he stood today, the Kambas know otherwise. They know better. They can't take him serious.
Yeah.
Mudavadi, where you come from, people said the Kalenjin would support him because his mother was Kalenjin. Of course, that was wrong, the stepmother. They said things of that nature. They said Kioni, who is a Kikuyu, would bring Kikuyu votes. Now lawyers are, they know. Once people know you are going nowhere, they will not waste their time on you.
They would waste time on you.
No, they will not.
If you say it that way, then there are also those who've been saying that the union between Jubilee and fronting Raila Odinga, there have been so many questions as to why this and what's in it for this Jubilee and what's in it for Uhuru Kenyatta. Those even were arguing through their own conspiracy theories and saying that there is an issue to do with protection of interests of the outgoing president, and that is why they are really into Raila Odinga taking these things. Wanataka to protect mali yao. I mean, what do you think is in it for Uhuru Kenyatta? What is in it for the Jubilee party to have a Raila president?
Before I answer that, let me just bring in Raila.
Yeah.
The same problem facing Mudavadi if he stood and Kalonzo if they stood, with the same problem that was facing Raila until recently. When people say, look here, this guy has been started by Mudavadi, started by Kalonzo, started by everybody, so he's useless. So even his own people are beginning to believe, even if they voted for him, it'll be a waste of time.
Yes.
Until he turned this thing, the politician he is, the genius he is, he turned it now. That Azimio thing in Kasarani was a major thing, not the one of today.
Yeah.
That first Azimio thing, it was a major turning point. So he spinned it. But before that, people are saying he can't get anything. So these things would be devil you. That's what would eat Mudavadi and eat Kalonzo. Now to answer your question, Politics is a game of interests.
Yeah.
Uhuru can't be doing this thing just for the fun of it. He must be having his interest. Yeah. And protecting property and getting more property is what politicians do. They get power to get the resources of the country. They get power to protect what they have. They never get power for us, for you and I. Do you think if Ruto 1 is winning for you and I? No, I may vote for him, but I am sure I'm intelligent enough to know
It's not for you.
It's not for me.
I mean, he says bottom up. Tutawainua nyinyi
Which
nyote.
bottom up? That's just a joke.
6,000.
Raila is in this thing.
6,000.
Raila is in this thing with Uhuru Kenyatta for what they will get out of it. That's not a secret, and that's how politics is played. Politics is a game of interests. So Jubilee and Uhuru Kenyatta are not in this thing because they love Raila. It's not a game of love. There's not love. No. Nobody loves the other. They look at, if Raila is there, what are my interests? You get it? That is how politics is played world over. A game of interest. So some people have looked, supposing Ruto got this, is our interest really catered for? If that interest be property and getting more property and protecting, so be it. It's their interest. And they figure out who between Ruto and Raila, in whose hands are we safe? I told you from your place. I think it's from your place. In whose hands are we safe? You know, so these businessmen, they tend to think they are safer in Raila's hands. It is their interest they are protecting. They are pursuing their interest.
Yeah.
I don't find anything strange about that.
How about that working badly for those who say protect their interests? Because this is the narrative being also pushed by the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. They say these people are just out to protect their interests, their wealth, and all that. Now, take that and put it to the electorate. In whose side will that not work well for?
You know, if it is well crafted, and peddled properly, it works in favor of Ruto. Yes, Kenya Kwanza. You see, I've watched the news today. They are already working on it. Yeah, they're saying these guys are ganging up to protect dynasties, to protect their property. But we are with you. We want jobs for you. You see, it is working. And I must repeat here because I've told you before.
Yeah,
it is up to the Azimio side to know that this election is affected by narratives more than ever before.
Yeah.
That, for example, the media in this election, and I think going forward in this country, the media is going to play a role it has never played before. You know, in America, you are lying.
Yeah.
You know, in America, the media decides who becomes president. And for the first time in this country, the media is driving the narratives. And the side that sleeps and doesn't tell a story, a good story, and tell it well using the best storytellers, they could suffer. But when you look at it generally, Raila is already running away with this thing, but he can also lose it.
Yeah.
He can lose it.
I want you to hold that thought on how or what could make Raila lose it, because you say he's running with it and he could lose it. We take a very short break. When we come back, we pick it from there. And of course, try to also flip the coin and try to understand also on the other side. Of course, I'm sure majority are saying Ruto is working with this, but he could also lose it. In which way? Because of course, they're the candidates. We'll try and make sense out of that. When we come back from the break, I would like to allow Phyllis to also rest her arms. She's been doing a very great job from the beginning of this bulletin. When we come back from the break, we continue this conversation with Herman Manyora. Stay with us.
The future of money is simple, like unlocking possibilities with a smile. And having the world in the palm of your hand. It's the ability to touch many lives at the same time and turn your dreams into reality. It's forgetting and still remembering. Simple is having everything that you love in one place. From the ticket to your next meal, to your ticket to the next holiday. It's an easy way to ask for a boost when you're low. And keeping track of everything on the go. The future of money is simple, and it's here. Download the new M-Pesa app today.
Please make those payments and take dinner out the freezer. Enjoy your day off.
Hey.
How was your day?
Great.
Did you pay the bills?
Abby did it.
And the plumber?
Abby did it.
Send money to your mom?
Abby did it.
Who's Abby?
Bank on WhatsApp with Abby, your 24/7 digital personal banker. Another digital innovation that gets things done. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA.
Did you take dinner out the freezer?
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
Travel Insights.
Pick an off-season to travel. Accommodations, tours, and even food will be much higher if you're traveling during high season or the holidays. Don't plan to travel around holidays when everyone else is doing their trips. Months like January, May, June, and July are good months to travel. Save money and make more memories.
Travel Insights.
Right. Thank you so much for still being with us right here on Look Up TV Weekend. And my name, as always, is Eugene Nangwe. I'm here by design just to try and make sense of today's political events. There's been a lot of talk, and of course, many people have been asking real questions about what has been done, especially when we talk about the move by Kalonzo Musyoka to back Raila Odinga for the presidency for another third time. Of course, we're trying to analyze this and much more political issues with Herman Manyora. He sits here with us in studio to try and give us his sense on these particular matters. Prof, before we went for the break, you said that there are things that could make Raila Odinga lose this. As we speak today, in your opinion, you say he's going to run with it.
Of course.
But he could still also lose it.
Yeah. So that, you know, I maintain there's no way Ruto can win this election.
You maintain that?
Yes, he cannot win it. But Raila can lose it. Yeah. So that if Ruto became president, not because he won it, but it's because Raila lost it. Because this thing is already gone. But you can lose it.
Tell us why. What would make Raila lose it? Because already someone like the Gatundu South Member of Parliament has been able to say it, that Raila Odinga would do much better. And in fact, he stands a higher chance if he shook off the Jubilee tag and the President Uhuru Kenyatta tag. Do you agree with that? And what else do you think would make Raila lose it?
I don't think. I don't join those who think Uhuru is
weakening Raila.
Is a bit Raila. I don't buy that. Uhuru's support is important for Raila. You see, Raila could lose the election because of two main reasons. The first one is if he doesn't control the perception in the country. So there's this feeling in this country that Ruto has taken this thing.
Yes.
There's no way you can.
Same way you have the perception that Raila has taken it.
You see, me, I'm objective.
Yeah.
And I'm neutral and I'm observing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Kenyans. And I'm saying Kenyans are saying Ruto is going to win this thing hands down. That perception, you must deal with it. You get it? I know it's wrong. I know BBI, people said BBI would not pass.
Yeah.
If they went to referendum. But I know it will get 70%. It was going to pass with flying colors, without coercion. So, but the perception outside there was that BBI was not going to pass. So that if it passed, people are going to say the government has stolen the referendum. The same problem faces Raila. So first, you must control perception, because the perception could affect the numbers that are coming in, your numbers. Because some people, once they know this thing is like it's already gone, even if they really wanted to vote for it, they just say, so they must control that. Secondly, on the same line, the perception is important, because supposing you beat Ruto, as indeed Raila will beat Ruto, according to me, you could have issues like the one Uhuru faced. Issues of legitimacy hanging on your head and spoiling your chance of doing whatever it is you've been fighting for. So that perception that Ruto is winning is an elephant in a china shop. So Raila must get hold of that elephant and get it out of the china shop. To break all the glasses. You know, because when you are losing and the people are on your side but you are losing, you can just mess everything. Because you know, you are Ruto, you know you have lost. But you know people know you have not think you have not lost. So a lot of trouble can come out of that. Even from a security point of view. So it is important they manage their perceptions. They must show that they are the ones winning and the Ruto is losing. So that's the first thing they must deal. If they don't do it successfully, it will haunt them. And the second thing, of course, is that all the negative things associated with Raila in the past, as far as elections are concerned, he must deal with them. And they are obvious, everybody knows. He campaigns well, he excites the crowd, people turn out to vote for him, but he's never quite organized in terms of ensuring those votes of his are his votes up to the end. Okay? You might argue that because he's with Uhuru, that's now a little different, and with the state and so on and so forth. But it's still important. In 2013, Raila would have become president if he had manned the polling stations. And he already knew...
When you say manned the polling stations, what do you really mean?
You see, in 2007, Judge Kriegler told us people were stuffing ballots in their areas. That
so Kibaki was keeping people there to be able to monitor that.
Yeah, so Kibaki's side were stuffing the ballots around the mountain. And the Kriegler said even Raila's people were also
doing the same.
Doing the same in Rift Valley and other places. So he knew that it's important to protect your vote. Let's just use the Kenyan lingo. Protect. He never did it. Come 2017, he was told we lost that thing because we never. You remember they adopt a polling station thing they come up with. And then the number that Kalonzo was holding. But finally, did they do it? They didn't. And that came out clearly in the Supreme Court. So something like that. Interference from ODM. This was supposed to be a NASA affair. But ODM never let go. So the campaign wasn't very professional. And including family members. So these are some of the things that Raila has to deal with, on top of having a serious communication team that understands the role of narratives, that prepares him before he goes to a rally. Like that Madawadowa thing. If he had, so these are some of the things you are able to see. If somebody is going to a place, you must know the kind of things he should not say in that place, or he should say. And generally some things that must never come out of your mind, your mouth. So those kind of things Raila has to take care of.
Do you think this explains the reason of shaking off the orange color in his presidential run this time round? Because it's missing conspicuously.
It's not about the orange I saw it today at Kasaran. It's not about colors. It's about realizing that this thing must be run professionally with the minimal, if any, interference from family and ODM. Each of these persons should have a role to play in the Raila campaign. But they should not mix, You know, there must be a boundary beyond which ODM should not cross, a
Right.
boundary beyond which the family should not cross,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
So some mistakes that can cost you an election.
The trip by the Deputy President to US and UK, I spoke to the Secretary General of Jubilee Party, Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, and I asked him the same question. And for him, he says, the reason why William Ruto was out of the country for such a trip was because this thing is gone, and he's trying to prepare people to be able to say that, you see, they want to steal the election from me, and so that's the perception he wants to create. I've not heard you say something about this, and I would like to hear your thoughts on this, because we're talking about perceptions here and certain decisions that could either make you win or lose the vote. How do you see this playing out in this election?
Yeah, of course. Like I've said before, I think Ruto is intelligent enough to know this thing is gone. So if Kioni says whatever he's playing up to and whatever he's saying about rigging is like preparing his people, that could be a bit, some element of truth in it. It's possible that he knows it is gone. You know, many people who are losing an election complain about theft of the election. They always say this election they are planning to rig, so and so is being supported by the provincial administration in those days. So and so. It is something that normal happens, that when people sense defeat, there are certain characteristic behavior that you can notice. One of them being complaining about stealing of the election and so on and so forth.
Yeah. But then should we as a nation be concerned? Because at the end of the day, it's a vote that, you know, concerns all of us. If anyone feels played or feels cheated, then it's a question that probably what is the country doing about it, as opposed to going out. I want to be able to try and narrow down on this from a perspective of the role of the international community, because Raila Odinga himself would actually go, and this is the same tag that William Ruto even put on him and said, we do not want outsiders to talk to us about our own electoral processes, independent, stuff.
Yes.
So are you seeing a change of positions here?
Yeah, because now the shoe is on the other leg, other foot. And therefore he's feeling the pinch. And that's why he will go there and say the things Raila used to say, which he used to rubbish. Now it is him saying. But unfortunately for Raila that then and for Ruto now, these Western people, they know where their interests are. And I can tell you without a fear of contradiction, they have aligned themselves to Uhuru and Raila already. So even if you go to America or UK, you are wasting your time. They have aligned themselves already. They know. It's only countries like Germany which are sometimes very neutral and objective. And then the Scandinavian countries, which are inconsequential countries anyway, apart from Germany. But the major players, which is America, Canada, UK, they already know. They already know, and they have aligned themselves to Raila, the way I suspect. But coming to stealing and being, we are Kenyans, I have this to say. If I were Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta, what I would do first of all is consolidate my gains and votes the way they have done from today. It's going to be clear that they are winning. So once you have done that, ensure you work on the narratives. Let everybody see you are the ones now headed to victory. That's, if they don't do that, they'll wish they listen to me. They have to prepare the country for a Raila presidency. It's not a question of people voting. People vote for Raila and he will win. But they must prepare the country, shift the country from thinking Ruto is winning to knowing that Raila is. That's the first thing they must do. Up to around May, latest June. It should be clear to everybody. After that, and to answer your question and address your concern, they must now ensure the elections. They should do everything possible to make everybody, all and sundry, see that these elections are going to be free and fair.
But that's the role of IBC, no?
They have
Why would they?
They also have a role to play. They are government. Who is government? There's a lot of things we saw going on last time. So, and if IBC can only work with stakeholders, And government and Raila and Ruto are major stakeholders. IBC cannot do the kind of things it did, running away from a committee. They must play with stakeholders. You may say no, but finally you saw IBC just in the run-up to the repeat election, which never took place. They were forced now to sit down with Raila and Kalonzo Musyoka at the anniversary towers. And then walk to the Harambe House or whatever, or County Hall, to sit with Uhuru Kenyatta. But these are important players. These are the stakeholders. You can't ignore them.
Talking of important players, there are those who feel that there was an important player who missed on today's signing of Kalonzo. And it would be good to probably clarify to the nation whether this was an OKA, Azimio la Umoja signing, or it was a Wiper signing individually, because also the law does not allow coalition to coalition,
It does.
Matches.
No
it
problem.
does? Yeah, so what did you see? Because I'm talking about Martha Karua, who was missing conspicuously, and she responded on Twitter and said she was actually chilling, relaxing from where she was.
I like that lady. I like Martha Karua.
What perception is she sending, and would that work for Raila Odinga or work in his favor?
There are those who are saying Kalonzo signed as Wiper and not as OKA. But as late as yesterday, as listened as yesterday, or late, whatever the English would be. When they were signing this deal, I think it was clear to all of them that Kalonzo was going to, and indeed they said they would be going to KICC. And the Kasaran, they said that, okay? It was clear Kalonzo had left. It was not anything they were trying to. And that's why if you look at the agreement, it gives a lot of room to individual parties within OKA. When anybody could walk out. They
look for friends.
Yeah, it wasn't difficult to say they could go as OKA. And somebody could choose to walk out. It was a coalition of the willing. And that anybody was free. You remember Mother Karua stressed that part. That Mother Karua could just walk out to that agreement. It was not as binding as these others. Where if you want to do this, but of course to dissolve you need 3 members. But to walk out, you can walk out. I think it left it open for OKA to negotiate with Azimio as OKA. Or Wiper do it. It's a little awkward. And I think to the extent that I think they have not submitted it to the registrar of political parties, even if there are things that could be conflicting with the law,
it's null and void.
They can handle it, because I don't think it is registered. I don't think they did it yesterday. I don't think it was registered yesterday.
So talking of registration or no registration, Martha Karua, I mean, in the equation, because there are those of perception saying she should actually deputize Raila Odinga, and of course this ticket would be a very strong ticket. You've seen also those who are saying maybe she could be going to team up with Jimmy Wanjigi and push a ticket, or probably go to William Ruto's side. I mean, where do you see her in this equation of this election?
It's very unfortunate. Martha Karua is my choice for president. Anytime. Even if she stood against Raila and Ruto, I would vote for her. If she stood a chance. Unfortunately, she doesn't stand a chance. But she has been forced to make certain moves. Some of them are survival. Look at how awkward she came out in 2017. Telling the world she was working with Uhuru Kenyatta and not Raila. It wasn't like Martha Karua. Now in this particular case, where it will be obvious where she belongs, again she's now, I think it's a question of survival. I think she sees she's getting nothing out of this arrangement. They are just harvesting her. Because I don't think Martha Karua, by what she really is, will have a problem working with Raila Odinga. Given and she has said as much. Given a choice between Ruto and Raila Odinga, Martha Karua will be more at home with Raila Odinga. So now that she is hesitant, actually refusing to join Raila, and the only other option is Ruto, you can see her is a person who feels people are not recognizing her for what she can bring on the table. And therefore she's acting out of anger. Because she knows at the national stage, nobody's giving her running mate. I think she's quite aware. On the local stage, she doesn't think there's somebody wanting to support her to be governor of Kirinyaga. So I think she's just frustrated. She's acting out of frustration. But she's a good lady.
So where would you think, if she landed on a certain side, she would actually bring them fortunes, or do you see her as inconsequential in either side?
It's unfortunate that she's inconsequential. It's unfortunate. Such a gem, such a person that this country needs. Any country will die to have her for president. It's unfortunate. In Kenyan politics, she's inconsequential. Even if you made her running mate, there's nothing she'll bring to you. Yeah. Whether she supports Raila or not, it means nothing. Whether she supports Ruto or not, it doesn't mean much. You know, it's so bad that even Anne Waiguru can bring more capital than Mother Karua. This is what politics is, and to me, it's just unfortunate.
You say it's unfortunate?
Yes.
We were talking about the role of Uhuru Kenyatta in the Raila Odinga's quest for presidency, and you said he's very consequential for Raila Odinga. But then there are those who argue and say that he brings baggage. The Jubilee administration brings baggage to Raila Odinga. If Raila had stood, the same Raila that would say, kuna mamluki, and the next day we are being told, indeed, they are mamluki. There's money being stolen in INYS, and the next day that is happening.
Golden bag.
Take golden bag and pushing the government and putting it on its toes, he would actually perform much, much better than actually standing by a government that most Kenyans or some Kenyans feel has actually not delivered on its promises to Kenyans. And so some people would be voting to even punish Uhuru Kenyatta. We've seen some people saying that you went to shake hands with your brother in Nyanza, go tell the Nyanza people to vote for the people of Kiambaa when you were looking for that particular seat in that particular situation. I mean, do you agree with this? Do you see this also as a baggage for Raila Odinga to try and shake off?
I think these are people who don't understand politics. To tell Raila that if he fought along the lines, I mean, in the same way he has fought, he would have won. I also believed the country was really tired and angry. If Raila had not if he did not go to shake hands with Raila, with Uhuru Kenyatta, he would just have won the next election. Perhaps Uhuru's government could have collapsed. But that is hypothetical. The reality is quite different. The reality is different. And Raila knows better. He knows this game better than you and I. He's been there from 1997. He was there much earlier, 1992, with his father and the rest.
Yeah.
The young Turks. And he knows this game. He has matured. He understands this game. He could not just have taken this path without serious consideration. He must have seen this is the only viable path. Because those who say Uhuru is coming with baggage, they could be right. But why don't you also flip the coin? Look at the advantage of working with government, with all the machinery, with the intelligence, with everything. That cannot count for nothing. Can it count for naught?
Yeah, but still they lost Kiambaa.
Pardon?
How?
No, you see, a by-election, there are many reasons.
Because I'm going to add a caveat to that, because there are those who argue and say, Raila is so comfortable, he feels that he's already won this, and that will cost him big time. Because he thinks and feels probably that he has that support in terms of machinery and all that. But on the flip side, when we are seeing it happening within the quote-unquote bedroom of the Jubilee administration in terms of Uhuru Kenyatta, then it sends mixed signals.
But remember, even Raila lost to Ugenya.
Yeah.
Right? He lost to Msambweni. That's not central. That's not Uhuru's kingdom. There are two reasons, or two explanations.
Yeah.
One, by-elections are a very poor indicator. We have the history we know. You cannot use the outcome of a by-election to arrive at conclusions, because they are a very poor indicator. That's obvious, we know in this country. Number two, I want to look at Uhuru as a member of the deep state. Maybe I'm wrong. The systems are rarely defeated. You cannot defeat a system. Systems are dismantled. That's why to defeat a system, you need a revolution. But you just face a system like this, you will not defeat it. But how come systems are difficult to defeat? One of the strategies they use is to separate strategy from tactic. You know, there's the tactical level and the strategy level. They always are good at the strategy level. So at the tactical level, they may allow you some little victories. And that's how you sustain. You build the hope that you can beat them. Because if they didn't allow you to small victories at the tactical level, you could give up. You could lose hope. And when people lose hope, Rwanda can happen. You get it? So you allow people little victories at the tactical level.
So you feel those were allowed?
Yeah, they can allow you some little battles. Even serious generals in big wars that lasted many years, they would allow certain tactical moves, you know, that would deceive the competing armies into thinking
they're winning.
They are winning. So systems are a long term. Opponents of systems, newcomers, are short term. They concentrate on small battles. When they win a small battle, they celebrate that small battle. This is was part of Raila's undoing. Celebrating small victories, making a lot of fun, fanfare and celebrating, and small victories, small battles. So Kiamba and the rest of those Msambweni, to me, within the matrix of deep state and system, these are small battles, tactical wins you allow them to have.
You've said it's difficult to beat systems, but former President, the late Daniel Arap Moi, did have what in that time was called a project.
Yes.
And that was the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta.
And he was beaten.
He was beaten. There is saying that Raila Odinga, because now he's being endorsed by
he will equally be beaten.
Equally be beaten.
So the system was beaten in 2002, the system will be beaten now. That's what they are saying.
Yes.
I would want them to be around. If you are the spokesman, I will ask you, answer on their behalf. Who is the president of Kenya today?
Who's the president of Kenya today?
Yes.
Because you said if
I forgot. You know I'm an old man.
I'm not. I'm
an old man, I can forget.
Yes.
Who is the president of Kenya?
You tell me.
I don't know because I'm an old man. I've forgotten. But I hear people saying it is Uhuru Kenyatta. Could I be right? Or maybe I'm dreaming.
So he's not?
See, Uhuru is the president of Kenya?
Yes.
So how was the system beaten?
Oh, so you say long term.
This
is what you mean.
Yeah? They are long term.
So it wasn't planned for that time.
Come on.
He was not to win that time.
There is a book I've written, but it's taken too long to come out for some reasons.
Yeah.
I'm asking Kenyans, Moi the professor, now with the hindsight, we believe Moi was the best politician this country has ever produced. Now all of us agree, most of us agree. Do you think the professor of politics couldn't know Uhuru would not win the election?
So you say he knew?
Of course.
He was just preparing him for now.
Yes. Get Uhuru from wherever he was. Dust him up, spruce him up, process him to be president. In much the same way Bush was processed to be president. He was told America is waiting for you. Stop some of these funny things you are doing.
But if you go with that same analogy, Raila Odinga might not have that time to be put in that situation where you say we know he might not win in the other.
No, then you are not getting
it. Might win. So you say probably throughout this period they've been preparing for Raila Odinga presidency?
No.
Yeah.
Kibaki was brought in to hold the brief as a caretaker president.
For who?
As Uhuru was being processed. Even, you don't need a lot of evidence that Moi was working with Kibaki. There is the Swam State Lodge deal, there is the hospital in London, a loan, and there are many things to point the fact that, and then the timing of the formation of the Democratic Party, the Matiba, the creation of Matiba to put forward as to tear it asunder, and then Matiba becomes like a monster, and all those kind of games were played, and finally you have Kibaki taking it so that Uhuru may become president in 2007 after one term. And then the orange thing happens, and it's not possible. Raila becomes a monster, and you have to postpone the Uhuru's by going for Kibaki another term, and then Uhuru comes in 2012, then which became 2013. I see a similar parallel.
That Uhuru has been holding for Raila Odinga?
No. Uhuru has done his term. Now the system has somebody after Uhuru, but it's not possible for that person to come now. So you bring in Raila.
Prof, you're losing me.
How?
What do you mean by saying that they might not have someone? So you're saying that someone, Raila is going to be holding brief for that particular person.
He's a caretaker president. As a man is being prepared. Because, let us assume, let's put names on the game.
Yeah.
The system may not like me to hell.
Yeah.
What do they give me? Listen, supposing they wanted to make Gideon president after Uhuru Kenyatta, would it sell? Can it sell now?
It might not sell.
Not might not. It wouldn't sell at all.
It would not sell.
So, if you brought in another person for a term or so, it's quite easy to move the chips.
Between that period of time.
Yes, until it's ready for Gideon or somebody else, whoever that person will be. You get it? It's not tenable now. And they are not foolish enough to know. So you bring in somebody, stopgap, and then you bring the main person. Let us assume Raila becomes president. Let's assume further the BBI thing is given a green go ahead by the Supreme Court. Let's assume further the referendum then works early in Raila's term. And then you bring people to fill those slots. And Gideon gets one of those slots. For example, let us say, Gideon doesn't mean Gideon Kipsiele Moi. Gideon means an assumed heir to the throne.
Prof, stop being diplomatic. You could have picked even said Anangwe, but you've said Gideon. I'm trying to insinuate that Gideon is being prepared for this.
It could as well be the case, in my thinking. And he cannot make it now. But if you bring him in government at senior position, deputy prime minister or things of that nature, then you can see, then you give him prominence. You give him prominence. And then something else you must also know, and I've told Ruto and Raila on screen, that whoever wins this election will vanquish the person who loses. If Ruto loses, he will finish these guys, not killing them. He will finish them politically. You'll never hear about them again.
If he loses or if he wins.
If he wins.
If he wins.
Likewise, if Uhuru and Raila win, you'll never hear of Ruto again. I'm telling you. Don't say, people are saying, oh, he will be leader of opposition. He will feature nowhere. And at that time, and you know how human nature works, they're associated with power. Once Ruto has been vanquished, slowly, the Rift Valley people will begin to move towards
another
Gideon.
To Gideon.
It's a new center of power. Remember, Eugene, remember, Moi's people, those who are young and are still in the rest now, in the field now, the chariots and those people, do you ever hear of them? Ruto suppressed all of them. After Ruto loses, the first thing is to resuscitate those names and give people like Isaac Ruto such a big prominence. Give people like those chariots, those people will be provincial, whatever, in charge of provincial administration, powerful people whom you don't hear of, because there's talk that Ruto suppressed all of them. Now they'll be given prominence. They will come up in the Uhuru Raila period, and you will see Gideon becoming a darling of his own people. And naturally, a game can be played for him to be somebody's running mate or something, whatever. Supposing he then became Kalonzo's running mate in 2027. Kalonzo just does one term and Gideon becomes president. It's quite possible.
I want us to end.
Yes, please do.
But still on the same note.
Yes.
David Murathe says that if they lose, you're saying that the one who wins will actually make the ones who have lost to
disappear completely.
Disappear in terms of politics. Murathe says if they lose, they will actually form a very strong opposition to the William Ruto government.
Which, Murathe? They will be run out of town. They will be run out of time. And let me tell you, they will be run out of town. Yes. I know politics is played in such a way, when you are so annoyed with the people who are opposing you, then when you win, you see your general shaking hands with people who are giving you trouble. That's how it normally works. But this situation is different. Because you have a rank outside harassing the insiders. They will not spare him. And the way Ruto has been harassed as a deputy president, the way he's been humiliated, my friend, he's unlikely to play the game the way it's normally played, where after winning, you look for the people and then shake hands and then move on. This time, even for him to enjoy the presidency, he will have to deal with these people. and he will deal with them. So if Murathe thinks Ruto can win and they are an opposition, he must think afresh. They will be run out of town.
Yeah.
Ruto will run them out of town. Just like they too will run him out of town. There is not going to be an opposition after 2022 elections. There will be no opposition. No. It will be one party rule for a while, almost 10, 15 years.
Whichever
Whoever
side
wins,
yeah?
The other will be vanquished. If Raila wins, this succession thing will continue for...
I wanted to really clarify on that vanquish, because we don't want to receive summons from NCIC. What do you really mean when you say vanquished?
I said nobody is injuring the other physically.
Yeah.
In politics, people finish you politically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you become
I've given an example. I've said, if you are Ruto and you have lost, and the people you had suppressed in Rift Valley, all of them are given fresh lease of life.
You become irrelevant.
To become important.
Yeah.
They are given state appointments.
Yeah.
They are moving with big vehicles and security and everything. You just look irrelevant.
Yeah.
They make sure you are just irrelevant up to your village.
Yeah.
That happens in politics across the world.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
All right.
Nobody can touch the other, not in the 21st century.
Good that you clarify that, Prof. I mean, in closing, so you also believe this is gone for Azimio, it's a win. But
some miracle must happen for Ruto to win the election. But under normal circumstances, Raila has run away with this thing.
Okay.
He already has it. He has bagged it.
We'll come back to discuss that, I'm sure, very soon, because they say politics, a day in politics, just an hour is such a very long time. And we hope
that's why we said there is a possibility Raila could lose it.
Raila could lose it.
So we keep it open.
Okay.
We are not closing that he has won.
Yeah.
We are saying he has run away with it. But you could trip. You've seen in running, somebody has almost even rounded people in the long distance things.
Yeah. Something happens in
it's just you, you're just taking the gold.
Yeah.
But then a muscle pull, something, and somebody comes from 20 meters from behind and just takes the goal. Those things happen.
Yeah.
But if there's no muscle pull, if the runner doesn't trip, the tape is just there. Raila is just hitting the tape. There it is. And the goal is his.
Prof, are you a politician?
No.
But you just said politicians are the ones who change their words. Because a while ago, earlier this year, you were not saying these things about Raila Odinga.
No, but he wasn't there.
You were even saying he's not. I mean,
he was not running with it. He was, look, what have opinion polls been saying? Raila was at 28 when Ruto was 50-something. Raila came to 30-something, Ruto began to come to around 50. Raila moved to 30-something, Ruto was now 45. Where are they now? See, they are now neck to neck. So things are happening. I'm only talking about things as they unfold.
Okay.
Who knows, in the next 1 month, it could be obvious Raila is at 60 and Ruto is at 35.
All right. Or the vice versa could
happen. Or the vice versa could happen.
All right.
I know you are a Ruto man, but...
Prof, let's make it clear. I'm not anyone's man. I'm just Eugene Anangwe. I'm my own.
You're just like me, eh?
Yes.
No, thank you very much.
It's good to actually make that very clear. I just asked the questions. But Prof, thank you so much for such a short notice for coming through. Of course, we still hope that we'll be able to have Farah Malim on Monday on the Bottom Line KE. This is what he's promised. He says he'll be able to be here with us on Monday. But as we wait for that, of course, politics and political events continue to happen in this country. And we will continue to talk about them. And even if we don't do that in these four walls, we'll continue on our social media platforms at Lookup TV. And we are available actually countrywide across the 47 counties. And we want to thank all the over 1.4 million viewers that we've been able to reach so far in just under 28 days. Thank you so much for choosing us. We'd love to see you more and become even your friends even better. So keep engaging us. You can also talk to me directly on my Twitter handle at Eugene Anangwe. And I want to end it at that point. Thank you to the teams that have made this a success. We'll see you again, same time, same place. Goodbye for now.
Asante sana, Eugene.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. We have 5 levels of our property, and we classify these levels as 1 star, 2 stars, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. This is what we mean, that if you buy a property that is 1 star with Optiven, one of the things that is evident, the property is cheaper, is below $500,000. And this particular property is basically bare land. We only do subdivision, put the beacons, and then produce titles. The second level, we call it 2 star. This is prime land, whereby we grade the roads, we put a marking fence, do the beacons, and produce titles. The third level, we call it 3 stars. This 3 star is value added plots. We do the malam, we do the water, we do the mesh fence,